What's up, guys? It's Sam here, and I wanted to talk about not using soap. Yeah, so that's what I said, not using soap. But before I do that, make sure you press that red button to subscribe, and there's a little bell icon. Just tap that bell icon until you see those parentheses, and YouTube will notify you every time I post a new video. All right, so I want to give you some context first before I get into that, because that provides the reason and logic behind why I don't use soap. So first of all, the biggest organ we have is our skin, right? And if you think, say, the average age of men today, maybe is in the 80s, right? So say if you're going to live to 80 or 90 years old, right? And if you shower, say, on average, twice per day or 1.5 times, right? Because maybe there's a couple days a week where you don't shower twice per day. And you do that pretty much your entire life, right? So after 80 years of 365, closer to like 500 and change or whatever it is, right? If it's times 1.5, if you're showering 500 times a year for 80 years, putting something on your skin, that our skin can absorb things transdermally, which means that if you put something on your skin, like think of like a nicotine patch, that's what comes to mind, right? And people wear nicotine patches, right? And they'll put it on themselves, and then they absorb the nicotine through that patch that's on their skin, right? Or other drugs from or compounds from like a doctor, or that's the first things that come to mind, right? Women use it for birth control, right? There's certain birth control where you can stick a patch on like your, butt cheek or your inside of your hip or something like that, and it releases hormones, right? So it's an effective way to have a have a absorption of something in our skin, and you can even see the absorption transdermally through things from factory workers who are around certain substances for extended periods of time in their working environment every day, and how that absorption through their skin and or their breathing, and more than likely in a factory, depending on what it is, if they're working with their hands or if it's something that can be airborne, can have huge detrimental effects, even fatal effects on people in the future. And I'm not saying that's what soap does by any stretch of the imagination. However, if you think about it, right, if you're doing an average of 500 showers or baths or whatever your prerogative, whatever your what's that word I'm looking for? Let me know down below in the comments. Yeah, I don't fucking remember. Whatever your prerogative is, I believe is the word prerogative. Let me know down below in the comments. On the way down there, you can press that thumbs up button. If you're doing about 500 per year for 80 years, that comes out to be a fucking substantial. I can pull up my calculator here and do the quick math on that. But if you were to live 85 years and you're doing an average of 500 baths, that's 42,500 showers, baths, whatever you want to do it. And during the summer, like sometimes I go to shower 3 times a day, like depending on what I'm doing. Or I will shower and then I go to the gym, then come home and shower and go do something, and then go shower again in the evening. Like, that's just what I do, right? And I almost always shower twice a day. Now, if you're taking something, right, soap, which is not necessarily designed, well, obviously today there's certain products that are, natural, but if you're and we can get into the natural portion of it in a second, but if you're taking something and you're applying it transdermally 500 times a year for 80 fucking years, even if just the marginal effect of that is three or four decimal places out, meaning if you were to say take 100%, right? That's 100.00, right? So if you went out four decimal places and to the right, you are, and that's the effect that you have each time you do it. Like that shit fucking adds up, and our bodies are a very they're very unique in that how something affects something else, because it's very, very interconnected. So if we're doing that every single day, multiple times a day for 80 fucking years, it's bound to have some type of effect. And because it's so marginalized as like that's what you should do, I don't know. I don't see the value in it, and I don't think that it's something that I want to do every single day of my life for the rest of my life. I don't think it's worthwhile. I don't think that the value outweighs the risk of it. And you're like, well, that's because you fucking smell like shit, Sam. And that is not true. Well, I'm going to say it's a sweatshirt. It's not me. So that's not my fault. My sweatshirt's not clean. I just don't wash clothes either. No, just kidding. So I also don't use very any hair products. Well, clearly, Sam, you don't have any fucking hair left, right? But or any lotion. I just don't use those type of products. I don't put any lotion on or anything like that for those reasons. And you might think that like there's natural products out there, and if that's your prerogative, then go for it. Like do that, do you? I just personally choose not to for myself. Not saying that I wouldn't. So generally speaking, and so no shampoo or conditioner, and that's been since I was like in my late teens, just none. I mean, so I do have soap in there that I use sometimes for shaving. So when I'm shaving my fucking balls, sometimes I use some soap for that, or sometimes when I do it in my arms, if I'm shaving my arms. Sometimes I will use a little bit of soap. A lot of times I just shave them when they're wet, my arms or my balls. But sometimes I do use the soap for that. So it's not like none at all ever. But I literally don't remember the last time I washed my hair with soap. Literally have no idea last time I did that. I just don't see any value in that. And if you have a washcloth and you can clean yourself, like you don't need soap. Think about this, right? Think about the things that can be found in soap or have been found in soap, like things like parabens, where the research has indicated that this can have effects similar to estrogen and cause or is linked to cancer, right? Like if you're putting that product on your body every single day that can be absorbed through your skin, like I just don't feel the need to do that. Another two things are the coloring, right, of soap. Generally that comes from some type of gasoline type product like petroleum, and it's going to be like a plastic or something like that, and that's where that actually comes from, right? So if you pull the coloring from some type of gasoline or petroleum type product, you're putting that on your skin. It just doesn't seem worth it to me. Another is I wrote some notes here, is the fragrance, right? And that could be some other type of concoction of chemicals, right? And remember, water is a chemical. So I'm not saying this to artificially inflate what I'm talking about, right? When you say chemical, like a lot of articles might talk about things and use the word chemical when really H2O is a chemical, right? So I'm not doing that, but there is potentially other things in the fragrance that we don't know about that can affect us negatively. in a hazardous way or potentially fatal way down the road. And just because it's only 3 or 4 decimal places out in terms of the degree of the effect it has on us, if you just do something every single day over and over and over and over and over and over again for year after year after year after year, there's going to be some type of impact. Period. And that's why I don't use soap. It's just what it is. It's been over a decade and a half at this point. I don't know. I think honestly, and when I'm 80, 90, 106, whatever it comes out to be, I think that there's going to be a potentially different perspective on some of these things, or potentially some type of research on that over the next several decades that can indicate some of these things, or use newer compounds in the formulation of soap that there's not as much research on, so people don't think of them as harmful yet. But anything that you do to yourself over and over and over and over and over again, year after year after year, decade after decade, is bound to have some type of impact, right? It's just what it is. That's life. So anyways, appreciate you guys. If you guys thought this is absolutely fucking insane, you can let me know down below in the comments. Also, if you're still watching, press that subscribe button. It helps the channel out. I am documenting my journey of creating a living online through YouTube and other sources. So if you want to follow along with that journey, I do make earnings updates and talk about, how I make my money. So follow the channel and see what's going on. If you have any questions about anything I'm doing, let me know down below in the comments, or my Instagram is in the description. Just jump over to Instagram and say what's up. Appreciate you guys. Peace.